For most parents, news of a pregnancy is cause for celebration. Within them, a new life begins. And with it, an imagined future full of hopes and dreams. But things do not always go as expected. Sometimes there are complications. And sometimes babies do not survive. In these cases, parents are helpless to do anything as they watch the beginning of their child's life collide with the end of it.
Great-grandma, are you willing to give her up and let great-grandpa hold her?
Yeah.
Lydia was born 4 days ago on Father's Day. She is the first child for Christine and Danny.
Are you sure?
Yes.
You look like you really want to. She's doing that too, isn't she? That's so great-grandma.
Due to complications in utero, Lydia suffered massive brain damage, and doctors have told her family that she will never develop beyond a non-responsive state.
So just so that you know, this is a long journey. And the nice thing for you is you've got all of these people to help you walk it. And that's so important.
The first time I held her was shortly after she was born. They snuck her out for me because they knew it was hard for me to have not seen her. She didn't have anything connected to her at that time.
It was too perfect. It was like when she came out, she looked at me, and that look, I'm always gonna have it there.
This is a bonus. Okay, let me just slide my feet there.
Okay.
What do you think she's trying to tell you, Grandpa?
I know what she's trying to tell me.
What?
Just for us to all love one another. Be there for each other, darling.
I'll get you to sign, and we'll get Danny to sign right below.
Okay.
The medical team has recommended that Lydia be taken off her ventilator. And her parents have decided to let doctors proceed with the extubation.
I feel like it's the coward's way out sometimes.
Beautiful. Here comes your mama, sweetie. You comfy? Because you're going to be here for a while.
Yes, I am. Hi, gorgeous.
I'm going to just let Dr. Tomlinson know that we're thinking probably about, 10 to 15 minutes time frame.
You know what? We were just sitting here asking each other if we were ready, and we may not be, but it's got to be done. There's no point in waiting longer.
I'll just let him know.
Okay.
Once Lydia is removed from the respirator, her family will learn whether she can breathe on her own. If she is not able to breathe, she could die within minutes. While a normal pregnancy lasts approximately 40 weeks, in rare cases, babies born as early as 22 weeks have been known to survive. But when a baby is born so early, parents are often faced with complex medical and ethical decisions. Carrie and Andrew began experiencing difficulties 12 weeks into their pregnancy.
Up to a certain amount of time, he was considered non-viable. So our experience with the medical field was that, you know, if he's here, he's here, and if he's not, there's nothing that you can do to, you know, salvage your pregnancy and carry on. Whereas, you know, other doctors would say stay in bed, and the other doctor that you'd say would say that's the worst thing for you. So we really had conflicting.
Everything was conflicting, all the information we were given.
So I stayed in bed and hoped to God that that was the best thing that I could do for him.
Even though Carrie chose to remain on bed rest, at 23 weeks, the complications with her pregnancy required that she be admitted to the local hospital for a series of tests.
I was there for 3 days, and they decided that they were going to do alternating ultrasound and stress test every other day. So this was the day that they were doing the stress test. I didn't think much about it. Completely naive. They hooked me up, and then about an hour later, somebody came in to look at the little computer printout. And then all of a sudden I had, you know, head of pediatrics come in and talk to me. And then I was waiting for another doctor to come in and talk to me, and a social worker. I just had a lineup of these medical professionals at my bedside, and I had no idea why. I said, can I have a minute? I need to go to the bathroom. And when I attempted to get up to go to the bathroom, water broke and large amounts of blood, and, you know, it was like a bad scene from the ER episodes, you know. I had somebody on my bed trying to get an IV as they were running me down to the delivery room, and at the same time I'm trying to call him to say get here because I didn't know what was going on. And then they put us in some type of pre-admitting to the OR or whatever it was, and let us sit there for 7 hours. They didn't want to do cesarean. They didn't feel that I should be put through major abdominal surgery if the likelihood of him surviving was next to nothing anyways. They kept coming in and asking, you know, this is what could go on as far as, you know, his future and mental capabilities and all that kind of things. And what did we want to do? So at that point, we'd made a decision that if he had any fight to be here, we'll go through it. And you're just thinking and hoping that, you know, you're the one in a million that a miracle can happen to.
While her family waits, Lydia's breathing tube is removed. For now, though somewhat labored, her breathing is steady.
What I'll have you do is I'll have Mom come here. Dad, if you want to go around back, I'll stand behind as well.
While it is not uncommon for nurses and hospital staff to take pictures of families in these situations, in the last decade, several organizations have been established to provide professional photographers to families with a dying infant. Heather Rivlin volunteers her services to one such organization called Now I Lay Me Down to Sleep.
Some cultures don't view picture taking as appropriate in a sad circumstance. Pictures are for celebrating, pictures are for happy times, pictures aren't for death, sadness, grief, but not necessarily so.
I think that's an interesting thing.
This one piece will make 52 layers.
Watch
on mobile devices or the big screen. All for free. No subscription required.
This isn't a baby who's going to celebrate another birthday. This isn't a baby who's going to have her first steps. In some cases, the children don't have hours to live, and parents are so consumed, obviously so, with the situation and with their grief that the last thing on their mind is to take a picture. I'm able to find ways of capturing little intricate details about that child, their little hands, their little feet, things to just remember them, so that when mom and dad do lose that baby and she does pass on, they have something that they can look at and say, she was here. She was here and she was living and she was important.
Yes, I'll get you tissue.
That will be forever.
Just my nose is...
Running like a tap? Oh, she's yawning. She's bored with her father already.
Multitasking.
Remind me when I was young.
I'm a mom
Remind me
too.
when
See,
I
I
was
wipe
young.
noses. It's all good. Doesn't matter how old you're. 22.
So Trisha's back tonight.
Yeah, we were just talking about that. We don't know what we're doing. We don't know if we're going home tonight or...
I'm going to make a suggestion that if you want to be with her, if you should stay. I'm concerned she's changing faster than I expected her to.
Faster in a good way or a bad way?
Well, faster than I think she's closer to death than I thought she would be already at this point.
After a long wait, the medical team finally delivered Carrie and Andrew's son, Emerson, via C-section. He weighed 1 pound, 9 ounces. After his birth, Emerson was transferred to a nearby hospital with a more advanced neonatal intensive care unit.
Born Thursday the 16th. I got to see him the Saturday for the first time. Went down to the NICU unit, armed with the camera, because I'm still completely oblivious to what I'm about to see. Yeah, I got to see him. Scary. Very scary.
Seeing Emerson and him being slightly bigger than the palm of my hand, like lengthwise, I couldn't believe it. He was all red and just like he looked like a baby bird that had fallen out of a tree.
No feathers.
Just a little tiny, bald, red little guy.
His skin was transparent. There was no fat underneath he was covered in, fur because he was so young. But he was cute. He was a baby.
He didn't like to be touched at all. He knew when he was being prepped for
something,
a blood test or an X-ray or anything. So probably the first month, I think, anytime you would touch him, that was just, he would plummet. His heart rate would go up and he would just take a dive. So they learned quickly, just leave him be, he's fine.
You just get so involved in the daily battles, what he's fighting today, what infection today, how many blood transfusions, what antibiotics, the pain meds.
And it's every day, like it's an everyday thing, every little tiny thing every day. You don't see the big picture, you don't see it coming to the end, you're just seeing the end of that day.
You don't.
And you'll make it through that day and...
What's his weight? What's his weight? What's his weight?
Oh, we heard everybody's...
We heard everybody's
stories.
stories.
Like, oh yeah.
Everybody
my
knows
aunt
somebody.
is, 85, and they kept her warm in an oven when, like, wow. Well, if that was 85 years ago, then, Emerson should be fine, like all the advancements. This is 2007.
Exactly.
Bad lights. Okay. Bad lights.
Identical twins, Kayla and April, were born healthy. But at 1 week old, Kayla contracted meningitis from an unknown source. And the damage to her brain is so extensive that her parents have been told she will likely die.
Stop the attitude. Smile. Say cheese. Oh, sweetie. Why?
You're just here.
They set us down and said 24 to 48 hours, or 72 tops if she makes it. If she makes it through, she's probably going to be on the high end of a disability.
You can kind of lift her so that her head is higher. There you go. You just look at her. You can kiss her. You can snuggle her. Beautiful.
Good girl.
Can I tell you something?
You betcha.
I want Kayla to survive.
I wish Kayla could survive too.
But we can't help it.
Unfortunately, we can't. You're absolutely right.
Well, is Kayla ever going to be home? Suzer?
No.
No. She will. She will.
All right, Karen.
Yeah?
Remember how I told you before, Karen?
Yeah?
No. She's eventually going to leave this hospital. She may go to a hospital in Oshawa.
Yeah.
And we may be able to go pick her up and take her out shopping and they can get her some little ice cream stuff and little stuff like that. But Kayla is never going to do that to me. Kayla's not going to probably ever come home.
Probably won't.
No.
She probably will. Even if she does, we could still thank her.
That's why we're doing the pictures.
Yeah? But don't worry, she's still here. Yeah.
And when your time comes to get pictures, you listen and do what you got to do.
Yeah. What about me?
Well, you need a face wash. Jeez.
Oh, here. I'll do this. I'll do this. I'm here. I know. Oh, sweetheart. Oh, sweetheart. I know. Don't kick your sister. Don't kick your sister.
You should see them stare at each other. You know how they do with the hand thing? Into the mouth and that?
Call me the baby whisperer.
I see your fear. Your fear is that she would kind of be non-responsive.
Yeah, because they've even said from Friday till today they can see a difference in her. And if it gets to that point where she stops eating because they said her eating's going down a little bit, so it's going to be harder to take her somewhere and get it done.
In these circumstances, the best choice would be to baptize the two girls.
Okay.
So if we could somehow create an instant community.
Well, we got enough people in the hospital.
Well, exactly. And, a lot of people say that about this place. It becomes
a second home.
A second home.
Right now, yeah.
Kayla Marie, I baptize you in the name of the Father who made you.
Kayla, I baptize you in the name of the Son.
Can you manage?
Okay. Kayla, I baptize you in the name of the Holy Spirit.
That's nice. Very nice.
It's been a busy day for you. I know. Yes, it has.
You look very beautiful.
And I'm proud of you. You did such a great job. You did a beautiful job today. Yes, you did.
Yeah.
Yes, you did.
Point them out to me.
She did do a few color of us. Oh, this one. That's one of my favorite.
I like that. I like me.
She's just snuggled in that white, that pink blanket. And then there's her feet and Chris's hands.
Soon after her birth, Chris and Amanda's daughter, Haley, was thought to have type 2 Gaucher's disease, a rare genetic illness that causes enlarged organs and extensive and progressive brain damage. Children diagnosed with type 2 Gaucher's usually die by the age of 2.
They did a skin biopsy, and then they called us down Christmas Eve to give us a diagnosis. Yeah, of all days. And then I knew there was something. I knew, at this point I knew, because she called back and she said, well, you might want to have your family come down. I said, we've met with genetics before. What do I need my whole family down there? Like, we don't need to make this a big circus production. Like, it's Christmas Eve. She goes, no, you might want them here for support. And I hung up the phone, and I think you were in the shower, and I went in the bathroom and said, that's it. I said, that's what she's got. She's got Gaucher. She's going to die. And he goes, would you just relax? I said, they wouldn't be asking us to bring our families down if it wasn't something serious. And he said, oh. And then before we went in, I happened to look at her chart, and it was on the chart they had Gaucher's pending, testing pending written down, and then on the very corner it said confirmed. So before I even went into that meeting, I knew. We decided, I think it was 9 o'clock in the morning, we're gonna take her home. And 8 o'clock that night, we were walking out of there.
She needed to live like a baby should at home.
A real baby. Oh, she was so mellow, laid back. She just wanted to snuggle. You as parents form a bond. And the moment you feel that baby move inside of you, you're attached and you're talking to it and you've got a relationship. And you have dreams and you have hopes and wishes, and it just shatters right in front of you. And we had almost 3 months to spend with her and get to know her and love her and care for her, but so many people don't get that time. And that's even worse. Because you have all these hopes and dreams, and it's just, the birth is traumatic, and then they die. And that would be brutal. It'd be really, really hard.
Whose hand is that?
Mommy's.
Nope.
Daddy's.
That's Daddy's hand. Whose is the other hand?
Mommy.
That's Mommy's.
And that's Lex's hand.
We're holding Haley's feet.
Several hours after her photo session, Lydia is still alive. While Christine and Danny rest, hospital caregivers work with Lydia to create mementos for her family.
Okay, Peanut. Time for your manicure. It's one of the few things that we can do for them that doesn't cause pain. All right, sweets. Pop. All right, that's perfect. Part of it is it's the connection to the child, but another part of it is it's proof of the existence. And a third piece is that they're terrified that they're not going to remember. What we're going to do is we're going to turn it upside down. Oh. There you go. And we can just take these little tiny bubbles of plaster off. There you go. Okay, so you're going to help me now that you've seen what to do to take
So
this one
just
apart.
kinda-
Just kind of peel. It's gross. Okay, we done good on that one.
Definitely.
The feet turned out really well.
It's gorgeous.
This is the way when you have future children that you can say, this is your big sister. This is what we got to do with her. Because it's going to be the way that you're going to tell her story.
Carrie and Andrew's son Emerson had now been kept alive on life support for nearly 10 weeks.
You get so involved in that daily fight and that hourly fight that you don't step back and look at, the big picture and what all of this stuff could do to him as far as his future is concerned, or will he have a future? I went down to the hospital, and one of our favorite nurses was on him, one of the ones that knew him extremely well, and another doctor was on at the time, and I was there 10, 12 hours, and we sat down and had a candid discussion, I'm not sure how it came to be, about the big picture, and at what stage of the game do you guys say enough is enough? I mean, this little boy's been tortured for 2.5 months. With medical interventions, and I mean, as a parent, you want them to be here, but at what cost? If he's going to be a complete vegetable when he comes home, who is that fair to? It just kind of like a light bulb went off. You're right. How did we not have this conversation? How did we not think about this? You're just so caught up in the everyday that you just have to pause and go, you're right. It's not a conversation you ever want to hear or ever want to have.
But everybody got caught up in it. The nurses and everything, like, they were just, you know, like his best friend. And
He was the fighter that everybody thought would go home.
Impelled by their conversation, Carrie and Andrew set up a meeting with the medical team to discuss Emerson's options. When they arrived for that meeting, they were told Emerson had gone into a coma.
To us, I think that was Emerson's way of saying I've had enough.
from the beginning, that was, like, from first day.
We always said that.
That's where we draw the line. When he decides he stopped fighting, then
Enough.
we're not going to push the issue. Let him decide.
Although she is believed to have total and irreversible brain damage, at 1 month old, Kayla is still responsive, and her parents have decided to take her home.
It's good, but it's scary. Because here, if something happens to her, she's in the best hands to be looked after. They know what the signs are. They know when she's had seizures, how to control them, what medicine to give her, and when she's having them. But if something happens to her in the night, and I'm sleeping, am I going to hear her? Is she going to give me a sign that says, I need help?
So a few things. I just want to make sure that you guys know how to draw out the medication and give it. She hasn't done it too much the past couple of days, but she'll start arching her back and stiffening up. And just crying and crying and crying no matter what you do, trying to console her, and she's just arching away from you.
Then that's when you would
Then
go
that's
with
what you
that.
use that. So I'm going to get you to do this one.
They still can't tell us what route she's taken. All the outcomes are pretty, it's either death or disability to the highest level.
Just make sure there's no air bubbles.
Eventually they said, like, if she gets past the 6 months, and with the way the brain works and things don't work right, you may have to put tubes in her and feed her that way.
Cool. Okay.
I don't want her to die, but I also didn't want her to live to being a vegetable, where what life has she got?
If she deteriorates or her heart suddenly stops, you'll need to decide what you're going to do at that time. And that's going to be the really hard thing. If you decide to call 911, they will respond as an emergency and they will do what is necessary to keep her alive. So that's not necessarily what you want. Again, it might change as time goes on.
I think the only reason I would call them is to make sure that whatever's happening with her, she's not suffering.
Right.
Like, make sure she's in no pain, but don't, just make sure she's comfortable for us.
Yeah.
Don't do anything else.
And if you call 911, they're almost legally obligated to do things. So
To keep her alive. Yeah,
Exactly.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, that is a hard decision.
it is a hard decision. Extremely hard.
Oh, yeah.
When a child's brain damage is so extensive that she lacks even the primitive reflex to suck and swallow, the only way to continue to prolong that child's life is through the permanent use of a feeding tube. Sometimes, in these situations, parents are asked to make an impossible choice. Keep the baby alive, even though she will remain non-responsive, or remove the feeding tube and allow her to die. Although Lydia's heart continues to beat, there is still no hope that she will gain brain function. Her parents have chosen to allow doctors to remove her feeding tube, and at 1 month old, they have brought her home to care for her during her final days.
We were so happy about bringing her home. We didn't even think about how stressful it was going to be on us. We just wanted to get her home, to spend that time with her.
Like, I mean, you don't want your little kid to cry in
somebody else's arms.
Yeah, they're all the best and everything. They all like lovely and everything, but you know, you want your kids to cry in your arm. Even though it's hard, when you know you can't do nothing, but
I was saying just last night, she was sitting in her swing. We just calmed her down, and I took one look at her and I couldn't even recognize her anymore. She's gotten a lot smaller and paler. Her eyes look a lot sicker. Her head's changed shape. She doesn't have that pink color in her anymore. She looks all pale. I just, as much as it breaks my heart to say, I would just want her to go. She's like heating up my body. Ooh. Ooh. It's hard to think that we're not going to get to hear her say her first words, or take her first steps, or come home with her first report card. Like, that's a big part of what I'm going to miss. I'm even kind of sad that I'm not going to hear her come up to me and say, "Mommy, I'm pregnant, and you're going to be a grandma." Even though that's so long away.
They told us we should start visiting funeral homes. And that was the worst thing. We went to 2 that day.
Yeah.
And I said, I can't do this. I can't do this anymore. And the one funeral home was amazing. He was very understanding. I said, I feel it's weird. It's one thing to go and plan it for yourself, but when you show up and you say, I'm planning this for my daughter, oh, okay. to them it's not a big deal, but I thought, I feel like I'm killing her.
It's not right.
And I'm planning ahead, and it's something I don't want to do, so why would I plan something I don't want to do? And I felt like a horrible mother that I'm planning my own child's funeral. Just after 10 o'clock in the morning.
Friday morning.
You went to work, and it was the first day back that I think you went on the Monday, and then you had the Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday off because she wasn't doing very well. And I was giving her a bath, and I called Chris. I said, she's like bathing a rag doll. There's no response. Chris said, well, do you want me to come home? I said, well, if I told you to come home every time that she was having a bad morning, you'd be running home pretty much every day. And Chris's parents showed up, and we were standing in the kitchen, and Chris's mom couldn't figure out how to get the straw into Alexis's cup. So I got Haley in one arm, and I put the straw through, and I handed it to Alexis, and I looked at Haley and went, okay, I'm going upstairs for a minute. I could just tell, like, she was going through one of those periods where she stopped breathing. And I went upstairs and got the stethoscope, and her heart wasn't beating anymore. So at some point, between Chris's parents coming in and getting chocolate milk and everything, the bustle of parenthood, she passed away. And then I had to call you. I didn't want Chris's parents to know. And after about a half hour, Chris's mom got a little suspicious. Why is she still hiding upstairs? And of course I had the phone, this silly phone. The battery was dying, so I had to run downstairs to get the other phone. I called my doctor, called Haley's nurse. My doctor came up after the nurse came and signed all the papers. It was a little while later I called the funeral home. It was one of the ones we'd already met with. And he said, okay, what do you want to do? And I said, I don't know. All I know is I don't want you to pick her up right now. And he said, okay, when do you want us to pick her up? I said, I don't know. Not now.
We didn't know what protocol was, how long we could keep her before we had to hand her over.
It was the first time that I couldn't call someone or just look at her and ask how she is.
It's not the right order of life.
No.
We're not supposed to bury our children.
No. My grandfather had a very hard time at Haley's funeral. He says, I am not supposed to be witnessing my great-granddaughter's funeral. This is wrong. I said, well, you're right, it is. But we're going to celebrate her life. She was only here for almost 3 months, but we're going to celebrate every minute of it.
It's not something that's talked about, so people don't know what to say. Which, to me, going through this, it's understandable on one hand, but on the other hand, by people not saying anything, it's hurtful. He did exist. You know, he was a baby. Just because he didn't come home doesn't make him any less of a, you know, a being. Or a loss, for that matter. once everybody goes away and the flowers stop and the cards stop, life goes on for everybody else. But it doesn't here. You try, but it's never the same. Somebody said to me, I guess this takes a long time to get over, and I thought, first of all, I can see why you would say that. You're trying to offer me words of comfort, but you don't ever get over this. You just got to try to learn how to live with it.
On August 11th, Lydia's heart stopped beating and she passed away at home. She was 56 days old.
As much as I would like to say I'm better, I'm not. I'm just crying all the time for no reason. I'm angry for no reason. I destroy stuff for no reason. I don't know. I know I'll be good someday, but I guess it's just a matter of time.
A lot of parents, they get the chance to take care of their child, raise them, watch them grow up. We didn't get that, and we had to be strong enough parents to know that we couldn't just keep her around for our own sake. We had to be strong enough to know that it was better for her to not be with us. I still refer to myself as mommy and him as daddy. I may not say it out loud a lot, but that's how I think of us in my head. I would love to ask her if she's mad at us because she couldn't communicate with us and tell us. Maybe she's mad that there was something she wanted us to do but we couldn't do because we didn't know. And I've always wondered if maybe she's mad at us because we didn't try harder or something like that. She got to pet the cat. She got to see a sunrise and
Swing in the park.
yeah, swing in the park, go down the slides with her dad, and she got to taste strawberries and feel the sun on her face and feel the wind. She seemed to really like those two.
Yeah.
April. April. Ooh, where's Daddy's girl? Where's my smile?
This, Dad?
Yeah. Oh, hang on, Dad. Yeah. Come here. Yeah. Okay. Kayla's turn. You ready? You're gonna smile. You showing your belly? Are you showing your belly? Are you showing your belly? Is that what you're doing? Are you showing your belly? Okay, you sit here. Let's fix you up. Watch your arm. Even though she's doing well, it's always that if. It'll always hang there. Where's Daddy's girl? Where's Kayla? Where's my girl? Don't worry, just hold it. We just day by day.
I can see ya.
Like nobody said, "Oh, she's going to be fine and everything, and everything's good. No more worries." They just everything's done to what they can do for her. It's all up to her now. There we go. There we go. Okay, one more, and then I think I'll be out of film, guys. Hey, where are you? I can't see Kayla. Kayla! Okay, look this way. Kayla. Kayla!